Welcome to the My Creative Days podcast, where we will talk about all things DIY, home decor, decorating tips, and creating a beautiful home on a budget. I am hoping our time together will spark a creative idea, help you plan your next DIY, or inspire you to finally tackle that project you keep putting off. Grab your favorite cup of motivation and let's chat. Hello and welcome back to the podcast. Today I'm going to talk about I'm just going to talk about how to successfully tackle your first DIY project. So that can be a daunting task. And as I've stated here before, when Matt and I first met, he did not know how to do anything DIY or anything with tools or even how to hold a hammer right. So everything we've learned either from my dad or by doing, trial and error and failing over and over and over again. But I thought today we are all inundated with, inspiration from Pinterest, just social media alone, just like TV shows and HGTV and magazines. And if you're somebody that wants to start DIYing, but you're scared or you have a ton of ideas, but you don't know where to start, can I just encourage you to please start? Don't be scared. It's one of those things you get better and better at it as you do more and more of it, like most things. But definitely do it. It's not even, when Matt and I started DIYing, when we first bought our first home, it was pretty much done. Like it didn't need a ton, but we did change like some paint colors and things like that. It was our first home, so we had no furniture and we had no, I had to furnish the home, and so but we had a small budget, so I had to learn I started flipping furniture to furnish our home on a budget, and so that's how I would do it. And then I would shop, yard sales and thrift stores and, repurpose stuff for like decorations or things to hang on the wall. And then it got, we bought our second house, and it was all original from the original owners. We bought it from the people that actually built the house. And so that one needed a little bit more than just paint on the walls. It was all original. So, tearing up the carpet to, reveal the hardwood floors underneath. We moved a wall, in our dining room and got rid of this, buffet thing they had. And there was a lot more to it because it was all original, which was super fun for us. But we just kept going with the DIY projects. And granted, we did have my dad, who has since, I was little, since I've, been here, has always been in construction. And so he was a wealth of knowledge, but we just as we kept doing the projects, and Dad would help us all the time, in the beginning, but then it got, easier and easier as we were doing them. And then it was like, wait, we don't even need to call him for this one. We know how to do it. And then we started flipping houses on our own. My dad, used to flip houses, and we would help him, right? We would do the easy projects in the beginning. We could paint the walls, we could do cleanup, we could do like the yard work. But we wanted to learn more and more so that we could actually flip houses on our own. And we've done that now 5 times on our own. And so it definitely is something that you get better at as you, and you gain more knowledge in as you do more of it. It does help. I will say it does help that Matt, and like I said, to be completely honest, Matt wanted nothing to do with this when I met him, right? Like he is a sports guy, and that's kind of, that was his realm. He could talk to you about sports all day long. Like he still loves sports, obviously. So, but the whole, construction or DIY or, painting or, fixing things, like he, in the beginning, just didn't, had no interest. But then, as we were helping my dad, or, we would get our own houses that we were living in, we had all these ideas, my dad would come over and help us. And then he started to, help my dad and then learn more things. And then he was hooked. And so that is super helpful to have, a husband that is just as excited to tackle a project as you are. So that is a huge help. But I don't think, it would have been like that if if we didn't go through the process. Does that make sense? Like he was learning as we went. We were doing projects in our home, and then he was just he just really enjoyed it. So, and even now, It's not done out of necessity. Like, it is something we are two people that love to be busy, and a DIY project or making over something that was headed for the landfill, like that. It's like I don't know. It's just it's fun. You just feel good about the project in the end. You feel good that you saved something, or, you feel good that you wanted to change something in your house and you were able to go to your garage and figure it out and, put wood together, and then, you have a new built-in in your home, or, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, it's something fun for us to do. So we don't have to do it out of necessity anymore, but it's something we still do because it is fun. We do like the process. And so if you're somebody that you're constantly inspired by what you see, or you have some great ideas and you're just a little scared about how to do it, I just want to first encourage you to just start. And some of these tips will help you tackle your first DIY successfully. Because, as I've said a million times here, we learned by failing over and over and over again. I'm telling you that. And we have learned little tips and techniques and things that make each project easier or go faster or be more successful. So it's definitely something that you just have to immerse yourself into it. But these tips will kind of help you kind of navigate it, especially if it's your first project. But you can head to my website, mycreativedays.com, and you can find all kinds of DIY projects, real simple ones to a little bit more involved ones. I have our flip houses on my website. So if you're flipping a home, like when we were flipping our home, we had to stick to a budget. So I had to figure out how to do things to these homes to stay within our budget. But that same with our house, like you have a certain budget. So it's easy, budget friendly DIY projects you will find on my site. So definitely check that out, and you can browse around and find a ton of things. But let's get to these tips and how to successfully do your first DIY project. Number one, start with a manageable project. And like I said in the beginning, every project, literally even from like painting, we had my, dad and my mom would come over and help us. I remember us painting all of the walls in our house. They were here with us, but like even that, like, do you tape? Do you not tape? You use a brush here and a roller here. And like, literally we learned everything from like the simple to a lot harder. So you definitely want to start with a manageable project. And so when we started doing things on our own, we were under my dad's wing all the time in the beginning for every little project. And then it got to the point where it was like, he was like, I don't need to help you with that when you know how to do it. Or why don't you guys get started and then I'll come in and, help you with the next steps or whatever. And so we have definitely failed over and over again. And my dad would have to come in and fix things, or, we'd have to just redo things. But if you start with a manageable project, something within your skill level. So painting is something that it's my favorite DIY product, because it'll give you the biggest like change for the least amount of money spent. And so, maybe it's just try to paint a piece of furniture. And when I say that, choose a small piece of furniture, a stool, a little end table. You don't have to, and choose a piece of furniture that doesn't need any repairs or anything. Maybe it's something you're already using in your home. Maybe it's a coffee table. But just start with something manageable and within your skill level, because when you're first starting out, you want the satisfaction of seeing it done and seeing it done successfully and seeing it done, like, okay, and I'm going to use this, or now I love this. Starting with a project that is beyond your skill level is just going to lead you to frustration, burnout. You'll quit it. You won't finish it. And that's not the goal here. So definitely start with something that is within your skill level. It requires basic tools, basic techniques, and it's smaller. Like, choose a smaller one. Maybe it's for your first 5 or 10 DIY projects. It's these small, just putting paint on something, or, maybe it's just like an easy, wall decor, something that you can repurpose or just, paint, and then add to your decorations or whatever in your home. But definitely start small. Definitely start within your skill level and be honest about that skill level. We may all think we can, cut 45-degree angles and, it looks so easy, so I can just do that. But if you've never done that, like, be completely honest. Have you ever used a table saw, a miter saw? If you haven't, don't start out with those projects. And you definitely don't need to run out and get a bunch of new tools and a bunch of new, fancy things when you're first starting out. You build up to that, and then you start adding those tools into your workshop or your garage, whatever it is. So definitely just be honest about your skill level and start there. Secondly, plan and research before you dive into anything. I mean, even if you're painting your walls, a lot of people will just be like, okay, I'm going to open a can of paint. I'm going to start painting my walls. I mean, there's prep work, there's cleaning, there's, making sure you have the right supplies around you. There is protecting, if it's the floors or furniture or whatever else, the trim or the woodwork in that room. There's definitely things that you need to plan and, prep before you just start slapping paint on a wall. So even the simplest projects, you definitely want to plan and research. Figure out if there are certain tools or materials, or you may think it's a really simple project and then you go to research it or plan for it and you're like, oh my goodness, this calls for a drill press. I don't know why that just came to my mind, but it did. And you're like, I don't even know what that is. I know I don't have one. That should tell you, okay, wait a minute, I need to rewind and just, maybe this one is just out of my skill set and I'm not going to do this project. So definitely take time to plan and research. You can find a ton of content, like I said, on my website. I also have DIY videos on my YouTube channel. So definitely you want to watch the process, read about the process, research what's involved before you start your project. Gather the right tools and materials. And here I'm going to share just painting your walls. Like if that's the first DIY project you do, you definitely want to make sure you have drop cloths and you have like the right drop cloths. We learned early on that a bed sheet over a chair or a sofa is not going to protect the chair or the sofa if you spill paint on it. Not fun to learn. So it soaks right through a bed sheet, right? So let's not use bed sheets for drop cloths and things. So you definitely want to make sure you have the right tools and materials. If you are new to painting, you definitely are going to need painter's tape. When you get better at it, you won't need painter's tape. You will be able to, trim and edge without tape at all. You'll be able to do it with a good paintbrush, but you definitely want to make sure that you're gathering the right tools and materials before you start your project. There's nothing worse than you're in the middle of a project and you're like, oh my gosh, now I need to go buy a brand new miter saw or, it's something expensive or like something that you're like, am I ever going to use this again? And then you can't finish the project until you go and do those things. So definitely that in your research and your planning, make sure that you have all the right tools and materials. And if there are tools and materials that are way beyond your skill level, then maybe, dial it back and that's not the right DIY project for you to start. Create a workspace. So you do not need a fancy workshop. You do not need a huge building out in the backyard to DIY, but it's just a dedicated workspace for your DIY project. So clear a table, clear a workbench, gather all your tools and materials and what you need kind of in one place. And just keep it organized and clutter free. It's just going to help you throughout the process. So for us, that is, we have a garage, but I want both cars. We have 2 cars, I guess I should say, 2 of our cars to be parked in the garage at all times. And so when we are doing a DIY project, like we just finished a few of them this weekend, we pull the cars out, we grab some foldable tables that we bring out for, DIY projects, and the workbench is always cleared after our project. So then we know we can start over there and get all the stuff we need. And then, so just to have a dedicated workspace for your project will help you immensely, but you do not need a fancy workshop or, building on, to do DIY at all. Take safety precautions. So this is one that we didn't learn for a long time, but, depending on what the project is, that might be, protective, masks or safety goggles, gloves, whatever it is. Those are good things to invest in if you're going to start DIYing. I do have, I found these masks. I was on the hunt for some good masks that you can actually breathe in and they actually fit and all of that. I will leave a link to those in the show notes, but definitely you do want to invest in those safety precautions. We were just doing some actually tree work in our backyard, and it got to the point where they were like chopping up the stump, and Matt went and grabbed his safety goggles just because, you don't want that in your eye. So same with if you're just sanding something simple, you want to wear a mask, you want to wear, like safety goggles. And so definitely look into what you need as far as that, depending on the project you're doing. Start step by step. Don't be Matt and try not to, and in the beginning, try to skip steps. Oh, we don't need that part. There's definitely a reason there is a step by step. You do this before you can do this. You can't move on to this until you get this done. So definitely follow the instructions step by step. Do not skip anything, especially if you're first starting out. There is a reason that there is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or a step, first step, second step, whatever it is. There's a reason for that. So do not skip any. Do not try to, maneuver things or try to put two together. Definitely just follow the step-by-step instructions. This one I like to talk about, embrace imperfection. So every DIY projects, they're all going to be different. They're all not going to turn out exactly how you like. I always tell people to have a plan B, C, D, and E, because every time you think you have plan A, something's not going to work out. It could be just as simple as a paint color, you don't like it. And so you need to have a plan B and you need to have a plan C. But I will tell you what's so funny, that in most of my DIY projects, my alternate plans, I usually like them a lot better than I did my plan A. So embrace the imperfections. It's okay. It's okay. Ask for help and guidance. So reach out to people. If you follow DIYers on, Instagram or Facebook or wherever you are, reach out to them. They usually love to answer your questions. Maybe it's a YouTuber you like to watch. Maybe it's your dad. Maybe it's your uncle. Maybe it's your cousin. Whoever it is, ask for help and guidance, because they are the people that have been there, done that. And they're going to be the ones that are going to tell you the tips and tricks and techniques that are going to save you time, money, and energy. Believe me, trust me. You definitely want to reach out to those people if you have them. That you're watching them or they're in your family, friends, neighbors, whatever. Enjoy the process. So this is a part that I said that will keep Matt and I coming back to it. It's not a necessity anymore, but we definitely enjoy the process. So we love a good challenge. We love a good, like I said, if it's, something I found on the curb and then we're going to bring it back to life, to something functional and pretty again, to right now, I just wanted to do a project inside our house. And so Gabrielle's little art nook, it hasn't been changed since I was watching kids here in our home. And so it's been functional for her, but I just thought, let's just make it pretty. And so we've been working on that project. And it's so, like I said, it's just going to be, it's something that we will constantly do. We both enjoy doing it. We both love the process. And when you love the process, and I'm telling you, the more and more you do your projects, the DIY, if it's for your home or if you're just doing like a piece of furniture, seeing it come to fruition and seeing like your work turning something that wasn't so great into something amazing, I'm telling you, you will be hooked just like we are. So enjoy it. It's supposed to be fun. It shouldn't be stressful. And if you take these tips and do it to it, especially in the beginning, and you learn how to do it right, and you don't go above what your skill level is, it's just going to help you enjoy the process more and more and more. And then lastly, celebrate your accomplishment. Like I said, when you see your project done, like celebrate that. Once you complete your first DIY project, take a moment and celebrate it. Take a photo, post it on your social media, share with your family and friends, share the process. If you have a social media platform that you like to post on, share your process, let them know, hey, I'm going to tackle this, whatever it is, and I'm going to take you through the process. I've never done a DIY project before, but I've really wanted to. This one's been sitting here forever, so I'm going to tackle it and I'm going to take you guys along with it. So share it, celebrate it. And then in the end, post pictures when you're done with it. Just bask in the pride of bringing your Pinterest inspiration to life. We all have our pin boards that are full of projects we want to try and do. But especially if you've never done a DIY project, that first one is like, but once you get done with that first one, you're going to be motivated to start your second one and your third one. So I hope these tips help. Like I said, reach out to people that you watch or that are family and friends. You can always reach out to me at My Creative Days on Instagram. Email me, Lindsay at mycreativedays.com. My website, mycreativedays.com, is full of DIY projects. So is my YouTube channel, so you can definitely check those out. I will leave links inside the show notes so you can find those all easily. But do your first DIY project. Don't put it off anymore. Don't be scared. Try it. You're going to love it. Take these tips and it'll help you get through it a little easier and more successfully. So, and I can't wait to see what you do. I would love to share your project. Like I said, on social media, tag me at My Creative Days so I can see it. I would love to see a ton of first DIYs coming through after you listen to this podcast. And I'd love to cheer you on and help you along the way. So definitely post those photos. So until next time, I hope you have a great day and I will talk to you very soon. Hello, friends. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. I'm grateful that you tune in every week and that you share the show with your family and friends. I love having creative chit chats with you, and my hope is that this podcast will inspire you to try a new project, start a DIY that you've been putting off, and decorate your home exactly how you want it. There are a few ways you can help us with the podcast. Follow the podcast so you don't miss an episode. And if you could take a few minutes to leave the podcast a review, that would help us so much. Again, thank you for being here, and I look forward to our chat next week. Bye-bye.